Welcome to this new automotive news video, the very first of the week of April 6th, 2026. And today we're going to talk about some figures that come directly from the Ministry of the Interior, which concern the French car fleet. There are plenty of really interesting figures, but there's one in particular that I want to come back to and try to explain a little bit about the reasons behind it. It's the age of the French car fleet, which just keeps getting older. We'll discuss that and also cover Opel's upcoming electric sports car. Honda is sharing good news, improving the warranty on all its new cars. And finally, we'll talk about DS, which is giving some additional information about its future DS3 with a major strategic change in the works. Just before we get into the topics on the agenda for this video, I still wanted to share with you what a complete joke from the French government regarding the current price of fuel. For several weeks, the government had been saying that it was going to implement measures specifically aimed at businesses, especially for farmers and drivers, truck drivers, or even fishermen, those for whom buying fuel is absolutely essential, and who are really the first victims of this period of rising prices that we've been seeing for several weeks. The government had announced that one of these measures would be the introduction of a loan allowing businesses to borrow money so they could continue to buy fuel and carry on with their professional activities. So that was already totally debatable because it wasn't really support. It was just a way to postpone the impact of the crisis, which would have eventually happened anyway. We learned this weekend that, to top it all off, these loans provided by the state would be subject to an interest rate of 3.8%. That means the state is literally offering companies to go into debt for 3 years to pay for fuel, the price of which is mostly made up of taxes. Instead of agreeing, as was done in Spain or Italy, to temporarily reduce these same taxes to allow companies to keep operating normally. We're really not out of the woods with this team. All right, let's get into the topics covered in this video. As usual, if you're interested, don't hesitate to show it by leaving a like, subscribing for the next videos, giving these videos a boost, and of course, leaving a comment where you share your thoughts on today's news. As I was saying, we'll begin this video by discussing figures from the Ministry of the Interior about the current car fleet. So, something to know is that these are not the 2026 data because the Ministry of the Interior always takes a long time to compile this information. As a result, here they're presenting us with the 2025 data. But what we learn is that, first of all, the French absolutely do not give up their cars, as one might think, and as some politicians hope, who absolutely want to switch everything to bicycles and public transportation. Because in reality, in 2025, the number of cars increased by 400,000 compared to 2024 with 39.7 million cars on the road in France. 94% of them run exclusively on gasoline or diesel. So that must have changed a little now in 2026. We know it's decreasing because there are a few more hybrids, but that was still true a few months ago, and the French car fleet for private individuals is made up of only 2.9% electric cars. So it's the same. That must have increased a little. We'll likely have to wait until early 2027 for the 2026 French car fleet numbers. While we wait for really precise numbers, the latest estimates show about 3.5% to 4% electric cars in France. In 2025, 61.5% of cars were Crit-Air 2 or older vehicles. With still 17.9% of cars being Crit-Air 3, you can see it would have been a real problem to try to ban them in French LEZs. And you can see that it's also going to be very complicated to ban Crit-Air 2 vehicles, which make up 35% of French cars. Crit-Air 2, which was supposed to be banned in some LEZs around the years 2028, 2030, we also learned that 53.6% of cars in France run on diesel, whether they are fully internal combustion vehicles or hybrids. So it's the same. It must have decreased a little by 2026, but what's certain is that diesel is probably still the leading fuel in France. I have two more interesting figures to share from this study. The first one, and it's not a surprise, we all suspected it here, I think, is that the average age of the French car fleet keeps increasing. It was 11.1 years in 2024, and it went up to 11.5 in 2025. And that's only considering passenger cars. If we start adding in commercial vehicles and the rest of the vehicle fleet, then we've already passed, for several months now anyway, the 13-year average. For your information, between the years 2000 and 2010, the fleet only got younger. In 2010, it was around 8.2 years. And since 2010, the French car fleet has only been getting older. In fact, this aging is even accelerating. It had only aged by 1 month between 2020 and 2021, 3 months between 2021 and 2022, 3 months between 2022 and 2023, but also between 2023 and 2024. And now, 4 months between 2024 and 2025. There's a good chance we'll have similar numbers for 2026. So there's a real problem with renewing the car fleet. The French are buying far fewer cars than before. Tell me in the comments why you think the French are buying fewer cars. But it's still a safe bet that the main reason is the average price of new cars, which has skyrocketed. The price has almost doubled on average over the last 15 years. It's now around 37,000 euros. There's actually another piece of data that supports this. Since the French people who are among the bottom 10% in terms of income have the oldest vehicles, it's 13.8 years old on average. We're only counting personal cars here, not commercial vehicles or trucks. One last figure before we wrap up. The average weight of cars sold in France in 2025 was increasing, no matter the type of engine. The lowest were conventional gasoline cars with an increase of only 0.3% compared to 2024 with, quote-unquote, only 1,176 kilograms. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, plug-in hybrid diesels, whose weight increased by 1% on average over the same period, with 2,344 kilograms. And the ones that increased the most are the electric vehicles, up by 2.1% more vehicles, older and heavier. Not sure that's really very, very good news. By the way, it probably won't get any better since SUVs still dominate the French market, because that's a figure that comes from another study and covers the same period. In the first quarter of 2026, 53.9% of new cars registered in France during this period were SUVs. I also wanted to quickly talk to you about Opel, which is working on a third sporty electric car. The first one is the Mokka GSE, which already exists and is already on the market. The second one will be the future Corsa GSE. And the third one, the one we're going to talk about today, is the Astra. It will most likely be the next model from Opel to get the sporty treatment. There isn't a lot of additional information about this car. However, it has been implied that this Astra GSC would use the same platform as the Mokka and the Corsa. So the electric motor, which is also used in the Lancia Ypsilon in the 280 horsepower version. But thanks to the fact that the vehicle is a bit lower, with better aerodynamics than the Mokka, it would perform a little better. But also because of its higher placement in the lineup. A higher price than the Mokka, which is currently at 46,400 euros in the sporty version. Also, here's a nice little piece of news from Honda, which has improved its warranty on all its new vehicles sold in France. Of course, there's still the 10-year engine warranty, but on top of that, Honda is introducing an extended warranty for the rest of the vehicle of 8 years, or 160,000 kilometers. There is still one small thing to know about this warranty. Just like with many other manufacturers, to benefit from it beyond the traditional 3-year manufacturer warranty, you must have strictly followed the recommended maintenance by the brand over the past year. Obviously, in a Honda-approved workshop, if that's the case, then automatically every year your warranty is extended by 1 year until it reaches 8 years or 160,000 kilometers. To finish, let's talk about another news item concerning the Stellantis group, since we have some additional information about the future DS3. The latest generation DS3 available since 2019 has turned out to be rather a commercial disappointment. It's not a total flop. It sold almost 100,000 units, which isn't ridiculous either. But those sales are overall much lower than the previous generation DS3, which sold 477,000 units over the same period. That is, over 7 years. That's 4.5 times more than the DS3 that came after it. This drop in sales is due to several factors. Obviously, starting with the price, because in 2010, a new DS3 started at 16,000 euros. While a modern DS3 starts at 33,000, more than double. But it's also certainly due to the fact that the DS3, which used to be a city car, has become an SUV. And in this world full of SUVs, when you're not a German brand or a budget SUV manufacturer, it's very hard to find your place. And that's where today's good news comes in. It's that after years of hesitation, after 4 changes in leadership in 5 years at DS, after multiple commercial and strategic struggles, it was finally decided that the future DS3 would indeed be a city car. And that wasn't certain because originally DS wanted the next DS3 to also be an SUV. Well, that's not going to happen. It will definitely be a city car built on the SP1 platform. It's the future platform that will normally make its debut in the next 208 in 2027. There isn't a lot of additional information about it except that this SP1 chassis supports multiple powertrains, meaning DS can make fully electric versions as well as hybrid or even combustion engine versions. By the way, DS has already confirmed that this DS3 will not use the hyper-square steering wheel concept, that kind of square steering wheel that will be available on the Peugeot 208, and has also confirmed that the interior of the vehicle will return to its roots. Exactly the opposite of what's being done right now, where cars are filled with screens everywhere. With its simpler interior and multi-energy platform, DS absolutely wants to win back, just like the old DS3 did. A part of the B segment, which on a European scale is still a segment that generated 13 million sales last year. The main question is the cost, but we'll have to wait a little longer to find out since the new DS3 won't arrive until 2028. In the meantime, that's it for today's news. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please show it as usual by leaving a like and subscribing for upcoming videos, and maybe even supporting the channel by clicking the join button below. See you very soon, actually tomorrow, for the next news video. Thanks for watching. See you then. Bye.